Hello, friends, and welcome to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. We are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast where we explore the lore and story of Hydaelyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I'm joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
Hello, Levi.
Hello, Jen.
Hello, Jen.
Today we are talking about the Halatali Hard Dungeon.
Yes, we are. We go back.
We go back. So Halatali, as a reminder, was an abandoned gladiatorial training ground. It was locked up tight, and its fighting beast denizens were allowed to run rampant, turning it into a survival of the fittest nightmare that we were asked to go and clear out. So we did. And now, Hugobert in Mordona has an opportunity for one of our talents.
Hugobert.
How would you say it, Jen?
Hugobert?
Okay.
Maybe Hugobert?
Sure.
Hugobert. We can call him Huggy.
What does Huge Bear say, Jen?
Well, he's got a quest for us. It seems Halatali has been remodeled and it's back open for business. The business of training adventurers like us. And heroes, also like us. He has a friend named Arl who works there, and we should go hit him up.
Jen, I want to make sure we note that now, after a little paint and a little mass burial, Halatali is good as new. Actual quest text.
Little paint, little mass burial.
So notably, though, this guy doesn't realize that we are the one who cleared it out. He's like, some adventurer went out and they went through there and killed all the beasts that had run rampant. So now we can all benefit. And they're talking to us,
yeah.
the one that did that.
Weird.
But we play it cool, of course.
Arl knows better. He's like, hey, you're the person who made all of this possible. Like, yeah, that was us.
Arl meets us out front of Halatali. He is a fully armored warrior, except for his exposed chest. He's got a pec window going on. Full helm, full armor, no chest.
Nice.
He says, welcome to Halatali, where heroes are made. Any friend of Huge Bear is a warmly regarded acquaintance of mine. And apparently, Hugobert used to tread the sands, but he's easily distracted, so he has resisted Arl's attempts so far to get him to come back to Halatali. So the dungeon is unlocked.
Woo.
Thank you to the pair who joined us for this minimum item level run.
Just saying all the words. Minimum item level. It's just mid-eye level. You know, if you're a cool kid.
MIL.
It's just real casual.
Little mill run.
Miller.
Lil Mill. See, Jen, we can keep reducing things and it sounds weird, so sometimes more is more.
Correct. Sometimes more is less.
Jen, who ran with us?
We were joined by Aki Maho, who played Machinist, and Emanir Zolanthar, who played Summoner. And that res came in handy. I was White Mage, and Levi was Paladin.
I wanted to play as Gladiator for this, but I didn't think that we could afford to have the reduced ability set on min eye level. So I got my Gladiator glam together, but went in as Paladin.
Yeah, the aesthetic as a Paladin was a little fucky.
It was spot on for a Gladiator, Jen. Getting back to my roots.
Correct. And for the environment. It looked great, but it was like, it's not a Paladin vibe. So that was the disconnect, is all I'm saying. It's funny.
Jen, don't be a prude. This is a Sultan Sworn flavored Paladin from the desert, Jen, not your Catholicism forward.
Is that according to you, or is this a Paladin getup that you were wearing? The Gladiator shit?
It's needed, Jen, to keep cool in the hot desert. That's why you have the windows.
I see what you're doing. You're just playing this real straight. Okay, that's fine.
You got the chest window, you got the thigh window, all the windows to let the air cool your body during this upcoming hot action.
Oh my god.
So we head into Halatali. Halatali has had a good cleaning since we were here last. They've got most of the debris cleaned up, plus the remnants of our violent eviction from last time we were here. Wayfinding is a little bit tricky in this dungeon, which is actually kind of a remnant of the first version where it's kind of hard to know where to go. But here, there's no indication as to which direction to head. You go into the first room, there are 2 yawning portals. One of them is correct, one of them is not going to let you go through. They're both closed, though. In general, if you just walk straight ahead, that's the correct direction. But if you look around trying to figure out where to go, you might lose your way and try and go through some shut door.
Well, yeah, that's the big issue with Halatali in general. If you're tanking it, it's like that's so many of these dungeons. If you're tanking it for the first time or even like the third time, Cutter's Cry, Halatali, it's you're gonna get lost and it's gonna be embarrassing, and it's just more pressure. But like this Halatali Hard is a little bit better. Though when you're going through the map, it's all like fog of war, so you don't really know where to go. But at one point, it does like spit you out, literally facing the door, and you have multiple doors to go through. But like, no, just go through this one. Okay.
The fog of war is actually kind of helpful your first time, because if you check the map, you won't backtrack accidentally because you see where you've been and where you haven't been.
Yeah, true.
There is a little information booth set up to the right, Jen. Not sure if you noticed.
Oh, no, I said that as we were walking in. I'm like, hey, look at that. They've got receptionists now.
Yeah. If you walk up to them, they're like, go on in, and they'll gesture vaguely towards the correct entrance. However, you go back to the first room again midway through the dungeon, and if you go back to the booth, they point you towards the first portal, which is incorrect second time.
Oops.
Yep, oops indeed. They should be fired for their incompetence.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What's the word? An appropriately weighted response, but ironically.
Great. And just pretend Jen said that.
You
Is that the word?
Nope. That's going to drive me nuts. Anyway, moving on.
Are you moving on?
Yes.
Great. Good detour.
Yep.
There's also a staff of gladiators here too, which will either point you forward or nag you as you're passing by them. As we head towards the correct gateway, this portcullis slides open, and the gladiator standing outside says, "Fresh meat for the grinder."
Settle down there.
The first leg of Halatali Hard is the second leg of Halatali Normal. This is where we had to pull all those chains last time to get the things to come down and unlock the gate. This time, the pull chains have been replaced with these spike balls that drop down from the ceiling and impact the ground, and if you're near them, they hit you. They're easy to avoid, though. Just don't stand near them, and they will keep on hitting the same spot. They will not track you down. It's really hard to get hit by them.
Uh-huh.
Be a pretty big blunder.
Yep.
Especially twice.
Did it happen twice?
No, because we yelled at you that you were in a spike zone.
It's so weird. Like, it's a very small spot, and there's like a darkened patch on the ground that shows you that a spiked ball has hit this particular spot numerous times. I didn't even see it, but I just sat my ass right there and got hit. And Levi was like, maybe don't stand there. I'm like, oh, yep. Scoot.
Thank you for your scoots, Jen.
Mm-hmm.
In this bit, we fight some basilisks, bats, and wolves. There are also gladiatorial mammoths. Partway through, we come across an NPC gladiator who's cowering on the ground. I think this is one person who's also been assigned to the gauntlet, and they're trying to figure out how to solo this pack of wolves. And then a group of 4 blazes through and just rolls them, no problem, while they're trying to, scheme some way past this next obstacle.
That's fair. You just hang out, wait for someone else to do it. they could watch and take notes.
Yeah, get some friends, loser.
Oh my god. I guess, one fucking strappy bondage costume change and a run through Halatali later, and Shu is some kind of Chad. Just really, it's a role play, I see.
Shu without you is a Chad, Jen.
What the fuck? I was there.
Spelling wise.
Oh my god, I got it. That's pretty good.
Thank you. I thought so too, but it took a while.
You really need to write that one down. That one needs to be read. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
It might be too obvious on paper. Whatever. Thank you for appreciating my genius, Jen.
Yeah, you're right, but also in the context, it didn't make any sense because I immediately was like, but I was there.
I know. It was a spur of the moment spelling joke, so.
It's pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, we also passed by a couple employees of Halatali who nag us some more. One says, "Are we fighting or farting? These spectators are like to laugh themselves to death."
Spectators?
Yeah, this is my one nitpick, which is that this is themed like we're being watched here, but there's nobody in sight watching us. And in the final room, there's like stands all around the arena and there's no one there. I just wish they'd put some people in here.
That's a little like Coliseum-y. I mean, that's exactly what it is, but it seems weird. It still seems weird that people watched people die.
Maybe with your modern sensibilities, but
correct.
In this culture we're in currently, this is definitely like peak entertainment.
But even then, it just feels weird, even in this world, that like people would be so barbaric. No,
I think it's beyond.
It's completely appropriate. It's not like we live in a world of peace and harmony and hand holding.
My only point being, though, is that I wish they had some actual spectators here, as this is themed around being watched. And there's even like an announcer later on, and then they're announcing to us only because there's no one in the giant Coliseum of the final room.
Nobody came to watch the Warrior of Light go through the Halatali.
Yeah. We got more people with our Hoary Boulder grudge match than we did for our actual like gladiatorial spectacle.
Right?
Anyway, the other employee gives us a, "What are we waiting for? The cavalry?" as we run by.
That's us. We're here. We did it.
Past the gauntlet, we reach the first boss in a circular arena. This is Pyrakmon. Pyrakmon? I don't know.
It's an awkward one.
You are.
Good one.
Thank you. This is a Cyclops that is wearing spiked armor. Very cool model.
He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This guy does the standard Cyclops moves, the swings, the swipes, and the I-beams, but there are no ground telegraphs. Good thing we're pros from our recent Palace of the Dead experience, Jen.
Totes.
So the attacks are a point-blank AoE, a cone, and a line, respectively. And you can evade all these attacks if you don't stand where they go off. Again, no ground markers, but if you know the move names, which you should for some content anyway, you can just avoid where you know the attack will hit, and he will miss you except for his just basic auto attacks. That said, if you do get hit, these hit for a lot of damage, at least on an eye level. That I-beam hits for most of a health bar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Besides those basic maneuvers, though, during the fight, there's a little mammoth wandering around the arena, which is tethered to a lever mounted against the wall.
So yeah, he's going to run. Does the Cyclops... So I did healer, which meant that my brain was completely fucking occupied. But was he being targeted by the Cyclops? Or like wherever he was, that's where the Cyclops was throwing out his shits?
Nope.
Okay. That just happened like twice when that lined up then, just coincidentally.
The Cyclops targets players, and because players will stand on the mammoth, those will overlap.
Yeah. So mammoth will run out tethered to this thing, and then you get to a point where you will interact with the lever and I think destroy the tether. What? Yeah, I don't know. Again,
welcome to the fight.
Everybody else is handling that shit, and I was like, keep them alive, keep them alive, keep them alive.
There will be a point where the Cyclops will do a room-wide attack, like a room-wide swing. You cannot evade this one. The whole ground gets lit up with the only telegraph in the fight. At that point, you've got to run for that lever and switch it, and that will cause the mammoth to pulse out this shield AoE. So you got to run to the lever, press it, run to the mammoth, get hit by the shield, and that will let you absorb the raid-wide swing from the Cyclops.
Yep. Fun.
That's it. If you do that correctly, you got the fight down.
Also kind of just weird. Like, why is there a mammoth? Well, there's a mammoth because this is all part of the clockwork training facility.
Everything is fair game here as far as mechanics go, because this is literally a game, as in like the gladiatorial games.
Yeah,
so,
it's hard to switch my mind over because this is a theme that's not really a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why is there like a mammoth doing weird shit?
But
no, in the context of this being a training facility, it totally makes sense.
I think every fight here does kind of take advantage of the gladiatorial setting, and they have these gimmicks that would just be kind of artificial in most settings. But here, having a lever that triggers the shield mammoth makes perfect sense because that's how they set the fight up.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Well, anyway, we defeat the Cyclops and we head on to the second part of our gladiatorial adventure. We are teleported back to the first chamber. And once again, we're not quite sure where to go, but just like last time, if we walk dead ahead, we'll go the correct direction, even though there are multiple exits from this chamber. And now on part 2 of this dungeon, we're on the first part of the normal Halatali. We're going through that place that ends with the bonfire. That's the path we're going down now. This section is framed essentially as wave combat. There'll be these locked gates on the side of the chamber, and they open in sequence, and beasts come out and we fight them. This whole section is beast themed. In fact, the employee on the way here says, "Gird your loins for a beastly encounter."
Gird your loins always reminds me of Devil Wears Prada.
How so?
In the very beginning, it's what's her face's first day at the magazine, and God, what is her character's name?
It doesn't matter.
It does.
Okay.
Andy. Oh, Miranda Priestley. That's right. Okay. So before Miranda Priestley's character shows up for the first time, everybody is on like high alert because they know she's incoming. And so Stanley Tucci's character, which is like her like assistant or like the first mate or whatever the fuck, he's running around the office going, "Gird your loins!" And then everybody's putting their makeup on and changing out their shoes and blah, 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 getting ready for Miranda to walk through this place like a fucking bulldozer. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we do that. But we're the Miranda here. Because
that is correct.
We bowl through a bunch of bears and basilisks, wolves, curls. There's one curl-themed fight, and the guy outside is calling out, "The eye of the curl." At the end of this gauntlet, we reach the Catoblepas. It is Catoblepas.
Catoblepas?
Catoblepas.
Sure.
A one-eyed quadrupedal beast of legend. This is the fight that gave us the most trouble. We wiped twice before we got it down.
That was my fault.
Incorrect.
Yeah, no, that was my fault.
I mean, just because we die because we ran out of health doesn't mean it's the healer's fault, Jen. That's the stuff that got Edda up in her shit. You know, that's Edda mentality, Jen.
Oh, wow.
I'm kind of serious, though, because the healer's an easy scapegoat because everyone died, so obviously they should have been healed more, but that's not the case here. We did not approach the mechanic correctly both times, so we died. Sure, our health got 0, but it's our fault for not handling the mechanic correctly. You can't heal more than your GCDs and MP allow.
Yeah, so it was more like I was trying to do more damage, but I really should have just like buckled down and spammed Medica 2 through that the heal check.
2 things, Jen. 1, Medica 2 is only good once, because then you got the heal over time on people, and then you want a Medica 1 for group heals. If you spam Medica 2, you'll overwrite your own heal over time and waste MP.
Oh, so you Medica 2 and then you Medica 1.
Correct. It's just like if you were to repeat cast Regen on someone. They're already regenerating. Why? You don't need to regen them some more.
I totally did not know that you like downgrade back to Medica 1 for the AoE heal.
That's why it's not replaced on your bar, because they do different things. To be fair, from the name, usually when the number is higher, it's better. For White Mage, actually, it's very deceptive. Cure 3 is not better than Cure 2. Correct. In most cases, Medica 2 is not better than Medica 1. In that case, they do different things. They're both important, but one is not better than the other.
Yeah. See, I don't know healer meta. And so that would have been better. And yeah, so I'm feeling it out.
Sure.
But
that's all
it definitely
fine.
didn't help.
Sure. Either way, though, other pro tip for you, Jen. When I heal min eye level dungeons, I usually never get a chance for damage, or I can maybe drop my dot on something and then I have to heal because the damage tends to be so high on that difficulty setting that there's little time to spend GCDs on damage.
Yeah, it makes me feel self-conscious. Again, this is not a reasonable attitude because I'm doing it wrong. I'm constantly having to like heal. So that feels like I'm doing something wrong. When I get a moment to like actually do some damage, I'm like, that feels correct. Because
I think there's two things in favor of that mentality. One is that you play DPS normally, I know. So that is your job in most cases, is to do damage, which is a good thing. And the other is that usually in most content, you don't need to heal all the damn time. So you do want to do damage as a healer to help the group out. In min eye level, though, for most dungeons we've played, the damage has been so high that you need to prioritize heals.
Yeah, that checks out.
That's fine, though.
I just don't, you do it and you feel like the rhythm of it and you understand.
Yep.
And that's something I just don't get. It really was pretty chill. But this fight was spicy.
Yeah, but no, again, we fucked up the mechanic. Your Medica 2 spamming or whatever aside, it was a mechanic issue, not a healing issue that caused a wipe.
Thanks.
So enough talking around it. Let's talk about the fight. This is the Catoblepus again.
Yeah.
I've also heard Catoblepus as a pronunciation. I think I tried looking this up actually, but unfortunately I found like 4 different AI pronunciations.
They're all going to be weird.
Exactly. So I'm like, fuck it. I found some older internet threads that had the BLE pronounced bleh. So I'm going with Catoblepus for now.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my Catoblepus story.
Beepus.
Yes. Tangent aside, this fight here, because this is like a beast of legend that has like a baleful eye, that's what the fight's all about, is these eye attacks. It'll do these cone gazes. You can't ever look away and avoid mechanics in this one fight. It hits you no matter what. It's not the kind of fight where you have the quote gaze mechanic, even though thematically the eye of the beast is what's attacking you. So it does these fat cone attacks. I saw people get hit multiple times because the cone was so wide and they were like that kind of mid-range where the width of the cone is so fat.
Yeah.
So being close to enemies with that kind of attack is helpful to help you dodge the narrow part of the cone, not the fat part.
Yeah.
There are also these trippy ass black hole-esque ground markers that it drops that are just like
they're literally an eye. It's a pupil and an iris on the ground. It's really cool looking.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
But these will get dropped on players, putting them right in the center, and you got to hoof it to get out of there before the AoE goes off. Those are the easy, just dodgeable AoEs, though. The main mechanic, at least one of the 2 main mechanics in the fight, is that there are 4 pillars in this arena. Again, super gamey, but makes sense in this place. So there are 4 pillars that have these shadow orbs on them. If you touch a shadow orb, you will consume the orb and gain the blind debuff. Normally bad. But the Catoblepus will do this room-wide gaze attack, and every character must hit an orb and gain blindness to avoid the petrifying gaze from this upcoming room-wide attack.
Did it. So, Amanir had some pro tips for us on this one.
Like, don't steal a healer's orb?
No, that came after. So... he stole my orb. We were both standing around the same thing, and he's like, all right, orb time. And he turns around and grabs the orb, and I turn around and I grab the orb, and he's like, oh shit, I'm sorry. I don't think he swore, but he said, I'm sorry, Otis, I stole your orb. And then I started running to the other one, but it was too late. And I don't know if that was a wipe. I think I died. I think, and then Aki was able to raise me.
It didn't help, but it didn't cause the wipe itself.
No. Yeah, I got down to a sliver of health, and I think that was on purpose.
You get petrified, and then the boss is going to drop one of those like eyeball AoEs on you, and you can't dodge it because you're petrified, so you get whacked for tons of damage.
Yeah.
But you survived that attack barely. I'm sure that did not help your healing situation, though. So grab the shadow orbs, and then you're fine to avoid the room-wide gaze attack. The other one, this is what killed us.
Absolute shit show.
Is that later on in the fight, the boss's eye becomes targetable as a separate entity. And at this point, the boss will do these raid-wide pulses constantly that do high damage and add a stacking vulnerability up debuff to you.
Yeah.
So the first time, we did not realize that the eye became a targetable entity. So
Like,
we
what
kept
is
on...
happening? Everything sucks right now
Yeah,
all of
exactly.
a sudden.
So the first time we died from these pulsing raid wides that were just too much damage. Plus, again, the stacking vuln up increases the damage per pulse. We try again. The second time, halfway through the mechanic, someone noticed that the eye was a separate, now targetable entity. So we focus fired on the eye that stopped the raid wides from going out. But at this point in time, though, we have so many vuln-up stacks that the boss goes on this rampage, one-shotting everyone in the room with melee attacks because we had so much vulnerability.
Oh, yeah.
So the third time, we focus fired on the eye as soon as it became available. That stopped the vuln pulses, and we got the clear.
Yeah, I looked up and I'm like, oh, Aki's dead. Let me go ahead and raise him. Nope. Everybody's dead.
Everyone's dead.
And then I was dead. In solidarity.
Thank you, Jen.
No, I got Kelly Bleepus rammed.
Kelly Bleepus.
Whatever it is.
We persevere eventually, and we're on now to the final stretch. We get teleported again through the dungeon, and we end up in a brand new area. This is not a rehashed repeat, but like a brand new segment in Halatali. This is going to be a series of tunnels connecting these circular arenas. Every arena is a circle here. But anyway, this is like the gladiator part here. We're going to fight other gladiators as we go towards the final match.
This was fun.
Yeah. So we go through these chambers, having these individual fights. On the way to the first one, we pass by a Lalafell who's complaining that a spear to the gut is the worst.
Spear to the gut's fucking worst.
Anyway, past them is
Such a bummer.
A lancer and a pair of wolves. The lancer has these very fast casting cross-shaped AoEs. Otherwise, not too bad. We defeat them. Next up is a gladiator and a conjurer. Defeated.
Mm-hmm.
The third match is a marauder and an archer duo. This was a little bit spicy. Those dots hurt for a lot from the archers.
Yeah, the archer it's like wind bite, I think is what they're doing. It's just like wind bite. I could not, all I was doing was fucking Asuna-ing. There we go. Asuna-ing you.
Thanks, Jen.
Just over and over and over and over. I'm like, this is dumb.
And the marauder does a home gang and then AoE, so you can't escape it. You just have to tank up and soak the AoE.
Nice.
Yep.
That's fun.
But we beat them, and we're on now to the final arena. Outside, we are greeted by Bronze Bull, who is now apparently employed as a gladiatorial announcer.
We remember Bronze Bull. Well, if you played 1.0, you know who he is. If you didn't play 1.0, you know who he is if you did the blacksmith crafting quests. You meet him at the very end. You make a nice shiny new weapon for him. And but he's like retired, so he's doing this now.
Yep.
I almost
Part-time
wanted
job.
to like check his gear. I'm like, are you wearing our sword? Are you wearing the thing that we made you? Probably not.
Well, he meets us in the vestibule. It's like, hey, welcome to the final match. Then he goes inside for the pre-boss fight cutscene. He's put on this mask that looks like a welder's mask, and he announces...
He's the MC, yeah.
Yep. The final bout against the finest gladiators to ever grace the Blood Sands.
Ooh.
So we're now against 4 combatants, an even match. This is light party on light party. We have, with the enemy, Franz the Fair, a Hewer gladiator, Silent Moss, the Solemn, Rogadin Conjurer, Lan Gloisert, Lionheart. I'm not going to correct myself or let Jin correct me.
Lan Gloisert. Can't be right.
It's right, Jin, I promise.
No. Spell that shit
Nope.
right now. Continue, and then we'll go back and spell it.
Oh my god.
Glossier.
Sure. Who is an
so embarrassing
Ellison Lancer. And finally, Ulin, the Sand Devil. Mikote Archer.
probably correct.
Thanks, Jen.
So Glossier's first name is Land, Land.
It's one word.
Fucking Christ. Langloisier.
Yeah.
That
Land Gloisert.
Your mouth is making literally every shape imaginable saying that name.
We fight those 4 guys, which are pretty spicy. The Lancer doesn't seem to actually care about aggro. He was on Aki like nonstop, no matter how much
You
I
were saying
taunted.
that. You're like, this guy will not accept my aggro.
Yep.
Yeah.
First wave, pretty easy. After they are beat, then the final contenders emerge. This is Mumuwepo, the Beholden, a Lalafell thaumaturge, and his bound void scent, a manticore named Narasimha.
Just like the manticore from Palace of the Dead.
Yeah.
Same dude. He's big and he's brawny.
I learned while making notes for this gen that if you don't kill the first 4 in time, then the Lalafell and Manticore will come out on their own to join the fight.
That's great.
But they do not cast the time stop ability until the other gladiators are down. So you're not going to like get frozen and then
you know what?
them.
That's interesting. Maybe you keep one of those people alive so you don't have to deal with that bullshit.
I mean, that could be a strat if
it's not really a problem
for
but,
us.
You know,
but
hey, you know what? I don't min-max. That seems like a min-max to me. So I'm going to call it out. Look
nice.
At Jen.
Look at
Jen over here, min-maxing.
Jen is Jen-maxing. Once the first 4 are down, though, then the mechanic starts for the final fight. The Manticore is not too bad. It runs around, it throws fireballs, it does Manticore stuff. It's mainly there to add chaos. It's not that hard by itself. The main challenge, though, is that the Thaumaturge will cast a spell called Stand... Yes.
Hey, Manticore. What you doing over there? Manticore stuff? That's cool.
I'm so confused.
It's all just you like Manticore stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like it's like me walking into his bedroom, you know, like, hey Manticore, what you doing? He's like, I don't know, Manticore stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Throwing
all.
fireballs.
I just wanted to role play that real quick. We're
charging guys.
We're going. Yeah.
Anyway, the Thaumaturge casts a spell called Stand Still. This will freeze 2 characters and also it will drop a fat AoE on the ground. I believe this AoE will one-shot anyone who gets caught by it. He'll also throw his staff down. So what you gotta do is you have to have someone who's not frozen rush the staff and hit it to dispel the time stop, standstill ability, so the frozen people can book it. And this is very tight for timing. You do not have much time at all to interact with the staff and then have the people who are freed run. Everyone's got to do their part to get this done.
Yeah, I got by this and died. I think, I was the first one targeted by this, so we were all like, what do we do?
Yeah.
I did get free, and then I was just kind of standing there because I just accepted my fate at that point. And you all were like, run! I'm like, oh, I can run! That hesitation, I think, is the reason why I died.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably.
So y'all were on top of it. I just didn't move.
But beyond that, it's easy. But that standstill, though, is it makes for a very tight timing. So you got to be on top of the staff and also the escape afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
We do it. We defeat them, and we are the champions of Halatali. Again. And that's it. There is no postscript. We just defeat the last 2, and then we leave. It was just
like a little tour.
Yep.
You know, just running through, seeing how they fixed it all up, making sure it's looking good.
Kicking the tires.
You know, putting it through its paces.
This, I was saying after the run, and still think so now, is one of the most fun of the A Realm Reborn dungeons.
Yes.
IMO.
Totally.
The mechanics are a lot of fun.
For myriad reasons, yeah. The mechanics are fun.
Theming's fun. It's very snappy.
Yep. Yeah, and like I said, like the vibe is just different because you're here voluntarily for fun. And just like talking to the people that, like, there's staff. You can just talk to the staff, like, which I thought was so great. Yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it. It's just one big fighting challenge, but it's in terms of like what you do there, and all the mechanics are just so fun to engage with. Every fight feels very fresh. And that Catoblepis, the second fight, that is not a snooze for a second boss. Usually like first boss easy, second boss easy, final boss, some mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this one actually was probably on par, if not more complex than the final boss.
Yeah, totally. I had a much easier time with the final boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, Jen. Any other thoughts?
No, like, what's up, Bronze Bull?
Not
Keep
much.
on keeping on. That's it.
Just announcing.
Sick. Ooh, running a rope. Like, that's literally his job now.
Yes, it is.
It's so good.
Next time, we'll be playing through the Goldsmith job quest through level 50. The final of the crafting quests for us.
Is it?
Yeah.
Rip.
Rip crafting.
Aww.
I have so many goldsmithing items sitting in my inventory to be desynth'd once I level goldsmith.
Nice.
Yeah. Not yet. It's actually a huge pain, but I'll get there. I'll get there next week.
Yes, you will.
All right. See you then, Jen.
And that will do it for today's episode. Thank you to Aki and Ewanir for joining us. And thank all y'all for listening in and being cool. If you want to get in touch with us, you can at podreturnffxiv@gmail.com. Or check the show notes for our Discord info. Get in there, talk to some peeps, do some group runs, share your glams or whatever. A really amazing group of people. And then we also have our Patreon, patreon.com/podreturnffxiv. And for $1 a month, you get access to some bonus content that we publish every so often. We have our Final Fantasy XI series there, the Vana'diel Van Splainer, and we publish episodes about the seasonal events, etc. So check it out. And with that, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day or night, and we will see you next time.